A lot of us are afraid of being in business and going into business because you hear the stats that more than 50% of businesses fail. But what if you can get a formula that guarantees you success in your business? My guest today on this episode shares a formula for business success. And she's very confident in it. And her confidence is one that you can lock into and will help you to be confident as you take the steps to start and to grow your business. So I want to just share this episode with you. Before we get into it, I want to encourage you to do a few things. Make sure you subscribe. You're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just go ahead and hit that button down below to subscribe. And if you're listening on a podcasting platform, I need you to give us a rating and a review. Give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and then leave a review so that others will find it. Now, let's get into our episode with Deon Stokes on the formula for business success. Welcome back. We're back with another episode of the Monetize Your Ministry podcast. Super excited that some of you have been on this journey for a while. So you've been gaining tools and tips and inspiration. And maybe for you, this is your first time checking out the podcast. So this is what we need you to do. Please make sure you hit subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. If you're listening to the podcast on Apple, on Spotify, or any other podcasting platform, please subscribe and do us one more thing. If you're a listener of the podcast, leave us a rating and a review. It helps someone else to find the podcast. All right. I'll just tell you, a few weeks ago, a friend of mine sent me a clip of this individual, and her message resonated exactly with what we talk about on this podcast. And so I'm so excited today to present to some and introduce to others Miss Deon Stokes. Deon, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I really do. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, listen, there's so much about your background I want us to get into for you to introduce yourself. And even before the question that I told you about, there was something when you were presenting your bio, I asked, what's something else that you want me to know about you? You said, I was a server at Olive Garden for 7 years. I was just so curious. Why did you say that with all the other things that we're going to get into? And let me just tell you, folks watching and listening, Deon has an impressive resume. She's doing amazing work. But there's something about that, especially with the tagline of this podcast, that I'm really curious why you said that.
Listen, when I tell you Olive Garden was probably the best 7 years of my life in hindsight, I learned everything about what I do today in my service at Olive Garden. And it was the opportunity to serve individuals and not know what was going to happen at the end of it that made it the learning like the biggest learning lesson, like the tool that I needed to be in service today. I don't work in hospitality today, but what I know about serving individuals, meeting their needs, meeting their expectations. Expectations, I have no idea what they are. Everybody has different expectations, but figuring a person out, reading the room, understanding the atmosphere, all of those things I learned from serving tables. I mean, do they need a moment? Are they having a personal conversation? They don't need me to come and give them one drop of water. No, they need me to leave them alone. Are they needy? Do they want to talk? Are they lonely? All of these things about people I learned in those 7 years. And then beyond that, I learned what it took to communicate with individuals to help them to be able to give you what you needed to live. And so those are the things that I took away from that learning experience. And I use those same things, those same tools that I learned at Olive Garden on University Drive in Huntsville, Alabama. Shout out to the OG. I use it every day to this day, what's almost 20 years later.
That's interesting. So a lot of times people will go through, their early work experience, and when they get to another level, right, they just kind of like, you start off with your resume and you put certain things on there, and as bigger things come, you just drop certain things off of your resume. Like, okay, I volunteered with Boys and Girls Club, and you drop certain things off. But it seems like that job and that role for 7 years really had an impact of shaping the work that you've been doing, who you are, and how it's helped you to grow in business.
It really has. And I think that the reason that it has had such a great impact so many years later is that I wanted so bad to get out of there. And when I was in college and even after college, my whole dream was to be able to leave Olive Garden. I was like, if I could just get out of here, I'm gonna get a real job and I'm gonna have salary and I'm gonna do these things. And little did I know is that I made significantly more money working there than I did in my corporate job right outside of college. And it was one of those lessons. And like I said, I appreciate it in hindsight. It was the lessons that I learned there about unmet expectations that have really helped me to be able to be well, the word excellent came to mind.
Mm,
Excellent in what I do
say it.
today.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the thing that has set me completely apart. So it doesn't get to roll off. The
Yeah.
fact that you can serve somebody in the most humble way possible by giving them food and water and cleaning up behind them is something that I don't ever want to forget. It's just a part of the building blocks of who I am.
And that's really part of what this whole podcast is about: monetize your
Mhm.
ministry, and ministry being
Yeah.
service. And a
Yeah.
lot of times we look at service as being on a stage, up
Mhm.
front, but a lot
Yes.
of times service starts in really small things.
Yeah.
And what you were doing there, yeah, it's
Mhm.
service. And you learned through serving the building blocks for your business. And so,
Let me tell you,
you know,
I would take people's orders. I would take a table of 20 people. I would take their food, appetizers, entrees, desserts without ever writing it down.
no way.
And those are the types of things that helped me to then be a personable person. When I meet somebody and I'm impressed, I need to understand you. I need to be impressed by you. I need to remember something about you. I'm going to be able to remember it. So every single one of my clients, every problem that they have, every solution I've been able to offer them, every million or comment in their income that they've made from me or by any other means, I know what it is. And so
Wow.
I'm saying like it's been a real building block. I didn't that was a muscle that I didn't have the moment that I started there
Wow.
that I built by being there.
Deon, by
It
the
was
way,
it was interesting.
let me tell you.
I really wrote that in. It was just
Yeah.
kind of like light and funny, but like when I really think about it, it was everything. It was amazing.
No, I'll tell you though.
Yeah,
People like you scare me when I'm at a restaurant and they're like nothing writing it down, and people
so I
like
got this.
I want this, but take this off, and can you add this? I'm like, and the person's just like, okay,
Sure.
I'm like, this is gonna be messed up. I
It's
know
gonna
it.
be a mess.
Yeah, you're gonna put it in the wrong place, and it's very surprising. And I'll be honest. Most
Yeah.
times they get it
Mhm.
perfectly right, and
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. I
Yeah.
don't think we recognize how much of a muscle, a skill,
Skill.
just that is,
It's a
and
skill.
how valuable that is for
Mhm.
other parts of life. And let's
Mhm.
talk a little bit about some of that. So Deon,
Yeah.
tell people who you are, because I can read off your bio here, which is super
Yeah.
impressive. But you
Yeah.
give us a little window into some of these things that you are doing now and that you've been able to do in your professional career.
Yeah, I am a business coach with a slight twist. I believe in building communities of individuals that are going to have lasting relationships and impacts with each other. And what I mean by that is my business coaching community is called a clique. And one thing that I always wanted when I was growing up was a clique of girls that would ride for me no matter what. Like if I was doing well, if I was in the right, they was riding with me. If I was dead wrong, they were going to be like, that's okay, because somehow she misunderstood, and that's okay too. And that is just what I offer the women inside of the AP Click, the business coaching community that I've started, is that I ride for you. You want to start this business. You have this dream, you have this passion, you have this fire in your belly. God told you to do it even, and you don't know where to go, and you've done a lot of things that are wrong, and you've had a lot of people that think that you can't do it, and you've thought in yourself that you couldn't do it, that you weren't worth it, that you've made so many mistakes, that you fail so often. And we're here to acknowledge that you have, but then to build you up from there. We're gonna
Yeah.
ride with you no matter what. And so today I'm a writer. I'm a person that rides for individuals who want to start a business. And I mean, when I say start a business with $0 in the bank, or they're grossing 10, 20, $35,000 months, I'm here for you to help you to be able to grow that, because I've seen so many companies that have started with individuals that have had absolutely no money. A person comes to mind that I interviewed on one of my podcasts, The Failure Report, Kim Lewis, and I would meet with her at the Atlanta Bread Company, and she would order water. And I think that maybe 15, 20 years, maybe 18 years later, she's grossing about between 10 and $25 million a year. And to watch her growth, her progress,
Wow.
and to remember that lady sitting in that Atlanta Bread Company ordering water, she's the same person. but she just looks different. She acts different. She moves differently because she had a dream that she believed in. And I was able to be a part of that. That means everything to me. So if you ask me who I am today, I'm just a member of a clique that
I
builds
love
up
it.
women in every way that I can.
I love it. You see, you write. You're a writer.
I'm a
You're a writer.
writer. I'm a
Yeah, I
writer.
love it. I love it. I love it. Wow. So Deon, there's so much here that I want to unpack. But before that, maybe people want to know a little bit even more. Like, what's something about you that folks would be
Yeah.
surprised to learn? Like, maybe even folks who've
Yeah.
been writing with you for a while.
Yeah, yeah. To see who I am today, I don't think that anyone really believes I started my professional career in politics. And I did that for over 13 years. I was a complete politician. And so, again, we go back to that Olive Garden. It really helped to remember everybody's name, everybody's situation. But I groomed politicians. I was a political manager, like I said, for 13 years, from city council all the way up to US Senate. And I worked primarily in the states of Alabama and Kentucky, and I absolutely loved it. But when individuals meet me, they're like, I always assume that a political analyst or a manager is different than you are. You're outspoken and charismatic and have a lot to say and run the politicians you work for. And all
Yeah.
those things are true. But it is the part of my life that I absolutely enjoyed until it was time for me to retire. And when it was time, it was time.
He said retire.
I retired. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
After 13 years, I hung up my hat. I'm done with that.
Yeah.
I don't even
So,
watch the news now. I don't care. It's
well,
done.
you're in a different phase. It sounds like there's some pivoting that's happened.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
but I just I want to unpack some things. You talked about you're a business coach,
Yeah.
and one of the things that, and being a business coach myself, one of the things that I've had to battle, and I don't know if you've had to battle this, is there's sometimes even a negative stigma. Everyone wants to be a coach now. Everyone wants to be a business coach now. Like, like how, because I actually have a different view on
Mhm.
more people should be coaches. But how do
Yeah.
you kind of come against that thought? Like, oh, so you're just building a business off of helping people build a business. How do you address
Yeah.
that conversation?
I think that simultaneously, even while I was working in politics, I've always been a business consultant. And business consultancy, what to me was, I was highly passionate about it until during the pandemic. I was a business consultant longer than I've done a lot of different things.
Mhm.
And I one day decided I didn't want to make millionaires more money.
Mm,
I just had no desire to make you any more money. You already have enough. And my job was to help you make more. And I was very good at it. And there was a time in my life that I was very passionate about it. And then I just kept seeing the need of other individuals who would pull my skirt and say, I have a skincare line, I have a makeup line, I have a trinket, I'm making this widget. And
yeah.
it was never, I had never had enough capacity to be able to also help that person
Right.
because I was off helping millionaires make more millions. And one day, as they say, my soul opened up and I was done with it. I had no desire to do it anymore. And I absolutely love the companies that I worked for. I honor them in every effort that they make to make our world more functional and more prosperous and more. I love all of those things, but it wasn't for me anymore. And so I took everything that I knew about business consultancy of building $1 billion businesses. And now I help individuals start with $0 in the make at least $10,000 a month. Just that
Wow.
simple.
I'm reading something here. It says after losing 100% of the marketing clients from March 13 to March 31, 2020, Deon was finally gifted the space to focus on her passions full time.
Let's talk
Like,
about it.
yeah, I think about like lose 100%
Uh huh.
and gifting. Like
Uh huh.
those
In the
two
same
things.
sentence. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
Let's
I
talk
actually
about
had to read that to make sure I didn't skip a line in my
it.
reading.
Mm-mm.
So
Mm-mm.
talk about that. Like this is
Woo.
the right at the beginning of COVID, right? Like
That's
COVID is,
correct. Yeah. So COVID has just started,
yeah.
and I am at a professional high.
Mhm.
I'm at the like where I would say like last year was great. This year is 10x that. Like we were doing
Mhm.
so well the end of 19 entering into 2020. And I was feeling fulfilled. I didn't have this burn. I started getting this burn in my belly to make a change in March. And I know it was the Holy Spirit that was like, you really want to do something else. You said once you got to this number, this was your magic number. We all have those magic numbers in our
Yeah.
mind, that you were going to make a shift in how present you were in your business, all of those things. And I just was kind of like, I know what I said, but I'm not going to do that. Like, I know I said I was going to take a step back and not be so. All of these, this is all March 1st. Like, I can give you the dates, right? I know I said that, God. I know I said that I was going to take a step back, and I was, but look at us. Like, we're killing it right now. And I'm at the helm of this, and I can't take my hand off of it because I'm so needed. Oh, here goes the air quotes for all my listeners. So needed, so
Hmm.
unreplaceable, so needs to be right here because it won't function, won't happen without me pointing at myself, me. And so the March 10th came, and I couldn't smell, I couldn't taste, I couldn't
Mm.
breathe deeply. I didn't know what was wrong with me. And I had a fever of 102. I was at a friend's birthday party, and I was like, I feel sick. I feel so sick. I don't know what's going on. And so I left work that day, and I took a few days off because I wasn't feeling well. And I kept coughing, and I was just in a bad way.
Mhm.
And that was the last day that I set foot in my office as I knew it. March 13th, I got my first call from a 7-year client that decided to pause, what they called a pause
Wow.
on their
Yep. Yep.
contract.
Hmm.
You remember these pauses? Remember
Oh, yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Pause. Yeah.
we're just
Pause. Just
pausing.
for a little while.
We don't know what's gonna happen. So we're just taking, and some individuals were coming to the end of their quarter. And so they were on a more of a quarter basis. And so they were saying, we're going to terminate, we're not going to renew. And from the 13th through the 31st of March, I lost every single one of our clients. And I hear so many individual stories of people coming back and them saying, okay, we want to do this again, in April and May. And I was gifted this space. I was gifted this space to do what I told God I wanted to do. Nobody came back. Nobody came back. It was my story is not the Cinderella story of like they wanted to come back and I was like no da 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 da. They just never came back. New clients, old clients, clients I've known for years, clients I've been at their kids' birthday parties. This wasn't like, oh well, maybe you were doing a bad job. Perhaps I don't know. I could say a whole bunch of reasons why. I won't ever know. I don't even choose to know because what I do know is that I told God I was going to do something and He was going to see fit that I did it. And so, as tragic as COVID was and all the tragedy that we faced, I feel was very personal for
Mm.
me. It was done very intentionally for a lot of people, but I was one of those people.
Wow.
And it gave me the space to do what I do today.
Yeah. You said something so right. There were this. I mean, we can't put into any sort of word or count
Oh
how much people lost there.
my
And in
gosh,
the midst
yes.
of the loss, there were opportunities for others, right? Opportunities to recalibrate. And for you, God gave you space to
Yes.
finally say yes to that thing that He
Yes.
had put inside of your heart, put inside of your spirit. And so
Yes. Yes.
now, you talk about working with people in starting up businesses from zero.
Yeah.
And there are
Mm.
two things I want to marry here. There's something I listen to you talk about failure. Failure is something you don't
Yes.
shy away from it.
No.
And I think it's important. And Deon, as we're talking about failure, one of the things that I think stops people from going into business is we hear the stats that over 50% of new businesses are going to fail, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, how do you work with someone with that huge possibility that they're bringing or hearing that they're going to fail? Like, how do you manage that tension?
Yeah, I've figured out the formula to success. And
Mm.
because I know the formula, I refuse to allow anyone to fail. It's up to every single person that works with me to be able to apply that formula. But because I have tried it, I have tested it. What I've been given the opportunity to do is to try theories with millions of dollars in the bank. And so
Mm.
if it falters a little bit, you're like, we lost a little bit today, but it's okay. When you have no money in the bank, you don't really have room for trial and error. You're kind of like, it's better work. So what I've done is I figured out on someone else's dime the formula to success, and I won't allow anyone to fail. because it is a personal decision if you do fail, because there is a formula to be successful if you follow it. And I will tell you the formula to success. It
I
is,
was gonna say, are we
oh,
gonna get there? Listen,
listen, I'm opening the
yeah,
bag. I'm gonna open the bag. Here,
I
you
got a
gonna drop this
notepad.
down.
Y'all better.
It's three
Those of you
words
who are watching this, you better get some paper, pull over
yeah,
on the side of the road,
right
write this
now.
stuff down. Here we go.
Right now, take a voice note, clip this part, because the formula to success is three words: preparation plus opportunity equals success.
Hmm.
Preparation plus opportunity equals success. And the thing of it is that I have never met a successful person who got an opportunity. I've never met a successful person who's got an opportunity that wasn't prepared for it.
Mm,
If you're not prepared for the opportunity, guess what? You're not going to be successful.
yeah.
You're not going to be successful. Opportunity can come shaking your doors down. If you're
Mhm.
not prepared for it, you will not be successful. So what does preparation mean? It means a lot of things to somebody different. Preparation means something different to absolutely everyone. But what I do in business is I help you be prepared, because the opportunity will come. You can find it, you can seek it, you can pay for it. The opportunity will come. And that will help you to be successful. But you have got to be prepared. Systems,
Mhm.
organization, commitment, dedication, discipline, all of those things are in the
Mm,
preparation side. See, those are words we don't like. We don't like
yeah.
those words. But that's how you are prepared, because opportunity will happen. And when you ask me to be on your podcast, I could turn you around a bio in 1 second, because if the opportunity passes, say, oh, Deon, I don't have any more dates for this month. Oh, I wouldn't have this opportunity and I wouldn't be able to have this
Mm,
moment. I wouldn't
mhm.
be successful in this space if I wasn't already prepared, because I never knew you were going to call. Thanks. Shout out to Paula for putting us together
That's
again.
right.
I appreciate her. But what if that didn't happen? And so I teach individuals how to be prepared. And when they're not prepared, they will fail. And when you fail once, it hurts. When you fail twice, it's devastating. When you fail a third time, it's the thing that makes you say, I will never try it again. And so I
Mm.
help individuals mitigate that process.
Wow. Okay, I love this. So we're gonna dig in a little bit. So,
Yeah.
Deon, I'm guessing a lot of the people you work with, when they come to you to start working on this business idea,
Yeah.
they are working a job. Business is not bringing enough money for them to be full time doing this, right?
Right.
So
Mostly. Mhm.
let's walk through this. And I here's one of the things I want to appreciate. I'm going to pause my question. You mentioned that you have a target audience. You have a group
Yes.
that you're passionate about. Talk a little bit about the group that you're passionate about working with,
Mhm.
your target group, and the importance of having a target group, because I meet so many people who are you for? Who is your product for? Your service for? It's for anyone. It's for everyone.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot of us are so we feel like it's something wrong to have a clear target. So talk about your target and the
Yeah.
importance of targeting.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I love this question. So I have two, I have one target, but they have to do two things in order for me to work with them. So one is I have a company called the Ambition Planner. Now I know
Mm,
you've heard me say a lot of companies, and I manage them all every day. God's amazing, because I don't know how I do this, but I have a company called the Ambition Planner, and I cherry pick individuals who purchase Ambition Planners to be a part of my coaching program. And the reason why, and specifically women, because the reason why is individuals who are dedicated to organization really understand the importance of how organized they're going to have to be in order to be able to balance the two things that they're doing. Because to your very good point, absolutely, most of them are, we call them side hustlers, you can call them grinders, you can call them moonlighters, you can identify however you choose. Multi hyphenates, I identify as a multi hyphenate, right? If that's the case, I need for you to be extremely organized. If you
good.
already are in the market for a planner, more than likely you figured out, I need somebody to help me with this. I need to write it down. I need to get really serious about monotasking my time. I need to value my most valuable asset, which is my time. From there, I then say, I see you ordered our planner. This is something that you're interested in. What do you want this planner for? The moment that that woman says, because I want to be able to start a business, that's my target market. You have to be there. That's kind of my litmus test for how serious you are, because everybody wants to not work for the man, right? That sounds so glamorous.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah,
wants to
yeah.
own a business.
If you're on any social
Everybody,
media, it's on. That's it, right?
it's there. But there's I've worked with so many people who are just not serious about it. They don't want to do the things that it takes on that side of the equation we just talked about, the preparation side. And I said the commitment, the dedication, the discipline, all of those things. They don't want to do that part. But the moment that I see you make a purchase as serious as a 90-day planner, because my
Mm,
planners are not annual, these are 90-day planners. I'm identifying a passion in you that is different from anybody that would buy a 365 planner. And that is honestly how I found my target market. When I created the planner during the pandemic, it was for myself because I operate in quarter systems. I just work in business so long. That's how I operate. But then when I saw other women that were invested in that same process, that's my niche. Those are my people. And I enjoy working with women because I really feel like we have to balance so many things.
mm-hmm.
Outside of the things that we say, oh, a husband and kids, I got to balance my emotions. I got to balance my mama. She's getting older. I have my own health issues. Anything internally, I'm not even talking about the external things that go on. We manage so many things and we still have this calling. God doesn't rescind the call. He still told
Mm-hmm.
me I had to do this. So now how am I going to be able to manage all of it? That's my girl. That's the person that I want to talk to, because I want to be able to help you bring that idea to life.
Oh, ideas to life. I love that. Yeah.
Ideas to
Yeah.
life. Yeah.
Now, I'll push you back a little bit, right? Like, but a
Yeah.
man could benefit from a planner like that. A
Absolutely.
man has to manage a lot of stuff, and a man might need help with getting his business started. So why not just keep it for both men and women? Like, what would you
Yeah.
answer someone? Because that's the real questions people struggle with when they're going into any kind of business, when they're trying to
Yeah.
monetize their ministry.
Yeah, it is. It's a really good question, and it's probably an email that I get almost every day. What about us? What about us? It's not fair. Why can't we have it? And
Yeah, it's
the
not fair.
reality,
That's a good
it's
word. It's not
not
fair.
fair. It's not fair. Why can't we have the planner too? The thing of it is that there's other processes and planners that are out there that are for you. Find another one. This one is for women. This one is speaking to women's needs, speaking to their desire to be able to have manage their family, their life, their health, their money, practice gratitude, lose weight, gain weight, go to grocery store. These are things that women, these are issues that women deal with specifically that are inside of this planner. And I enjoy speaking to a demographic that is oftentimes clumped in, especially in business, with men. You all have your own lane. We drive in your lanes all the time. So this is a space where we can have our own little arm. We're off to the very far right already, you know. So we drive on the shoulder anyway on this highway. I want to keep our lane open. I want this lane to be for us. So I'm sorry, men. I hear it all the time. They're like, come on.
Yeah. Don't worry. Some one of you all who is so upset about it, just make a planner. Just make the
Make a
planner.
planner.
Yeah.
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 Ours is copywritten. So, so you don't infringe on my trademark, but otherwise make your
Yeah.
own.
So Deon, this someone comes to you, they have a business idea. Do you
Yes.
ever say, right? And this is a question I get, and I'm sure you get. How do you determine if someone has a good business idea? How do you a woman comes, she even has a little bit of doubt. She has some skepticism. Is this gonna work? Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not sure people will buy this. How do you help her evaluate? How do you evaluate it?
Yeah, this is a hard question because the thing that I hate telling individuals is no.
Mm-hmm.
Like this isn't a good idea. I'm blessed to have not been in that position often, but really the evaluation comes down to how pliable you are with moving things inside of your business. When I have had to tell women no, this isn't going to work, is when I realize that they're not willing to move. When they're saying it will be this color, it will be magenta and light, I will not have it, it will be called this, I will have this launch date. Those are the types of women that I say it may not work because I
Mm-hmm.
don't choose to do anything outside of research. If we can't actually compare it to something else, if we're not able to do any market research and make any adjustments to your business, then you're not going to be able to work with me. And
Yeah.
maybe someone else completely disagrees, but I steep everything that we do in research. And so for that reason, If individuals come and they say they're not even willing, they haven't done any market research and they don't really want to listen to that, or they feel as if they feel very strongly about this, it makes it hard. It makes it so difficult to get
Yeah.
any further than that. And so I have had to tell individuals no, that it's just not going to work. But no, normally that's the reason why. Most of the time, individuals have amazing ideas.
Yeah.
They have amazing ideas. God has gifted them with such amazing talent. It is when they don't want to move, when they don't want to move with the trends or time or things, that makes it really difficult.
Deon, just what
Yeah.
you just said there is so key. There are more great ideas, talented people, people with just amazing things to bring out into the world than are actually bringing it out. Like more people are sitting back on their stuff than are like it's not the
Million
market,
dollar ideas.
right? The market isn't flooded with. There's not a oversaturation of people who just okay. You know what? There are no more good ideas. No, there's so
Yeah.
many more good things that are just waiting there to come out. And you make a really good point. I think, and I want your feedback on this. I
Mm-hmm.
think when we talk about failure, right? More than 50% fail. I think the failure happens when we stop, when there's a lack of movement, when we fail
That's
to
it.
pivot, when we fail to adjust, when we fail to get up and keep going, when we fail to learn and iterate.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of what's your reflection on it? Because I think it sounds like for you, success in business is study, prepare,
Yes.
make movements, shift, keep going. Like, talk to us about that. What's your reflection on that?
Everything you just said is so true, because I am the queen of a pivot. If it's
Mm,
not working, I evaluate how long it's going to work. I go back to that 90-day method. Inside of the ambition planner, we set goals. Each of those goals have milestones. Each of those milestones are tied back to a date. We monotask each of our time associated with that goal. If I say that I'm going to work on this for a solid 90 days, I'm going to be able to tell you if it's going to work or not in that amount of time. And that means I could have a brand new business venture 4 times a year if every single month, if sorry, every single quarter, I'm deciding I need to pivot. But if you don't write it down, if you're not measuring it, you don't
yeah.
know how far you've come. You don't know if you are successful, or if it's winning, if it's losing, if it's making money, if it's losing money. You don't know. And so I am so adamant about writing down your failures every single day. Just like I practice gratitude, I keep a failure report, i.e., the reason that it's the name of my podcast. It is the way that I give praise for the mistakes that I allowed myself to make. And I allow myself to push myself to a very far limit. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. Let's reiterate it. Let's try it again. But the thing of it is that you have to be willing to do that as a business owner to be successful. You have to trust that it's yours. You have to trust that God's not going to let you. He might put a lot of pressure on you, but he'll never crush you. So if God's never going to crush me, then that means I could keep going this far and I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be safe. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it. But what
Mhm.
I'm going to do from this is also learn from it. And my learning happens whenever I allow myself to reflect on it. And the way that I choose to reflect is I write those things down. Like I said, just like I practice gratitude, I write down the things that didn't go well, so that therefore I don't have to repeat those again.
Absolutely.
If I repeat a mistake, something really weird happened. I choose not to do that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
choose to not repeat mistakes, because mistakes happen for us. They happen for our good. They don't happen to us. And we
Mm,
take them so personally. We think that, oh, well, this failed, this happened, it's happening to me. Nobody understands. COVID happened to me. It happened for me. It happened for my good. And when I think
mm,
of failures happening for my good, it makes me just that much more excited to fail, because it's going to happen for me in the end anyway. So I might as well try. I might as well iterate. I might as well pivot. But if I don't know why I'm doing it, I won't know when to do it.
yeah. Deon, I've never heard about a failure report. And
Yeah.
that's I'm gonna give you a confession right now. I
Yes.
think I'm gonna buy a planner for my wife
Yes.
and
Okay.
just kind of
Amazing.
peek in there, right? Like it's gonna peek in there
That's
since
it.
it's not because that was a really good. I've never heard of that, but when you said it and you said I'm learning from my failures, so I'm not
That's it.
repeating them. I see it
Mhm.
makes sense. I do want to capture my victories and capture my
Yeah.
successes, but I also want to not shy away from failure, right?
Yeah.
Not be afraid to fail, but
Mhm.
also not keep repeating the same failures, right? Like what
We do it all
that
the
makes
time.
Yeah.
We do it all the time. It's just like whenever I first hired my first group of staff, I probably it was about five of them. And I watched them one day just like stand around from about 9 a.m. until around 11:30. They just kind of hung out. Like they got their stuff together. They were shuffling stuff on their desk, and then about after a little about after lunch, they started actually like honing in and getting serious. And then by 5 o'clock, the day was over. And I just kept looking at the lack of productivity. Like we could have gotten so much more done if they were more serious. And in writing in my journal one night, I was like, I need to assess their working habits. Like, why is it that you don't want to seem to work at this time? And 100% of that group of individuals were like, I'm not a morning person. I'm a creative. I work very well at night. I take a lot of work home. In the morning, you have it on your desk because for XYZ reason. And it was in that moment of like real reflection that I realized everybody doesn't work the same way. And I'm
Yeah.
asking for you to do something that you're never going to do. But I was losing so much money by just acting like this was supposed to work. And that's how it's always been. But the moment that I allowed myself to reflect on it, the moment I was able to pivot, the moment I was able to say the office wasn't open until 3. We opened at 3, closed at 11 at night. It was perfect. Perfect.
Wow. Wow.
This was in 2006.
Yeah.
So this was before individuals were about, the time and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was really, and it was because I was failing. We weren't showing up. We weren't
Mm.
present.
Yeah. Yeah.
We weren't there. And it was in
Yeah.
that reflection that I figured that out. I haven't thought
Dion, you
about
make
that in years. That's funny.
so many good points here. And I think that there's something that I want to make sure we may have covered this, but I want to underscore this. So people who are
Sure.
looking at starting businesses, you're bringing your creativity, you're bringing your God-given passion and your story, but there has to be some level of discipline and time investment. And
Yeah.
what I love about what you just shared with your planner and the systems that you're sharing here is it's giving you the room and it's showing you the room. Because a lot of times people start, they come with the ideas and say, I don't have time,
I don't have time.
but you're not really tracking the use of the
How do you
time that you
know?
have.
How
And
do you
so,
know?
yeah, how do you know? And so, if we address that at the beginning, get the
Okay.
time and gets that system in place, once you start figuring out the right actions to take, you have a
Mhm.
place to put those actions because you know your time.
That's
But if
it.
I don't have the time figured out, I'm
Mhm.
always going to feel overwhelmed
Yeah.
and I'm never going to be taking the right actions. And I'm going to get frustrated with the business
Yes.
thinking the business didn't work. And it's
Yes,
no,
it's
I
right.
didn't, I'm not aligned. Something's not
I
aligned.
oh my goodness, you hit it on the head. That's why I cherry pick from our planners sales for individuals who want to start their businesses, is because our planner is not for the faint of heart. It's not one
Mhm.
that you will find in TJ Maxx. It's not one of those that you see in Target. It's pretty intense because we do use the monotasking system. This is not a system that I created, but it is a system of actually understanding where you spend your time. If I know that I need to get this task done, one of the things that I talk about a lot in the planner is swallowing your big frog at the beginning of the day, and that's a term that Mark Twain has coined. But what is that big frog? What is that task that you don't want to do? It could be sending the emails, returning emails, creating assets for social media, whatever that big task is. What time is it going to take you? That comes from a time audit that you also need to know how long it takes you to do task, and then doing that task first. But what I'm pressing individuals to do is understand where they spend their time. And when you realize that I'm wasting my asset. I don't work well at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Between 2 and 4, you can ask me to do absolutely anything. I'll say yes. That's my secret, right? I'll say absolutely yes between 2 and 4 because that's not my time that I'm my very best that I'm
Yeah.
on, right? That's not my time. So if I know that, then what do I need to do during those times of the day? Well, I fill that time with those things. When I tell you, when I started monotasking my day and understanding how I spent my time, I literally 12x our income in
Woo.
90 days by
Okay.
understanding how I used my time. What do
Mm.
I do in the morning? What do I do first? How do I do this next? What am I going to be able to prioritize? When I figured that piece out, everything changed.
So
Okay.
Dion, you just shared this, and there's something about what you've been saying. There's a couple of things I want to make sure I capture before we leave. ambition brand, the ambition planner, like ambition, and you're a person of faith, and
Yes.
this is the Monetize Your Ministry podcast. And sometimes ambition sometimes seems like a
Mhm.
bad word. So
Yes.
help us. Like, why is
Mhm.
ambition the word that you lead with in your brand?
Amen. Because I read one day in the Bible, beware of your selfish ambitions. And I've only heard ambition used in a negative way. You know, she's overly ambitious, and I've been called that my whole life. And it was then that I realized that God was warning us against selfish ambitions, the ambitions that serve us, the things that we do that will bring us more glory, more opportunities, more fame, more prestige, more money, more whatever it is that we lust after. And I have positioned myself, and the majority of the people that I know are in a position where they just want to help people. I've never met, and I dare you to meet somebody to tell me one of your clients that has a business that does not help somebody.
Yes, that's it.
They're doing it to help someone else.
Yes.
And the thing of it is that with the moment that you start reflecting as yourself as somebody that is overly ambitious, I ride for the people that I work for. I'm doing this with all of my heart. I am going to be the face of ambition for you whenever you feel like you can't do it, whenever you've been told that it wasn't a good idea, whenever you failed so many times before. I'm going to need you to harvest some of the ambition that I have and the belief that I have for you, and I'm going to let you use it until you have your own, because what you're doing isn't selfish. Who you
Yeah.
want to help is not needs you, and we're
Yeah.
waiting for you to be able to show up. And so I lean all the way into the word ambition, because we have labeled it as something that is so negative. But the moment that you say, I'm tapping into my ambition and I will get this done, it's the moment I've seen so many people succeed.
I love it. A couple
Yeah.
things. You've been called this for so long, but you
Oh gosh.
leaned into it instead of leaning away from it. And a
Mhm.
lot of times what we think is our negative is our positive.
That's
And
it.
then just something
That's
you,
it.
if there is selfish ambition, could there be
Yes.
selfless ambition, right? Like,
Right. That's it.
yeah,
Why not? Right.
yeah, why not?
Hmm.
Now,
Hmm.
I want to get you out on this. Um,
Yes.
I love this sentence here. Um, this is the most spiritually, culturally inclusive daily planner and sold thousands of planners worldwide. So
Yeah.
somebody's watching this, they got their own business and they want to know, help me, give me a couple tips or a tip. How do I increase my sales? How do I get my what I have out into the world so that I can have thousands of whatever sold?
Yeah. So worldwide in a matter of months, and I
Yeah,
will
that's
put
right.
that as
Six
a caveat.
months. Yeah, or
Yes, I'll
months.
put that
Yeah,
as a caveat.
yeah.
The thing of it is that when you ask God what you're supposed to do with your life, when I asked God what I was supposed to do in April of 2020, He gave me this planner years before, and I was deciding I was going to sell it. I was like, I don't sell, I don't create, I don't do products, I do service, so I'm gonna stay in my lane.
Hmm.
And I had two amazing women that came to the table that should have purchased this planner. And I'm talking about take to the table with their lawyers, with the checkbook, the whole thing, and the deals fell through. And the thing of it is that to know that God preserved this for me for this time was the evidence that I needed to be able to produce it. And what I know is that whoever is on the other side of this screen or who has the earbuds in right now listening to me, God's doing the same thing for you. He doesn't give single gifts out to people. He didn't just give me this and didn't give it to somebody else. You have your own gift. You have your own talent. You have that own thing that wakes you up at 3 in the morning that won't let you sleep. You've tried to sell it, you tried to deny it, and he won't let you do it. Rule number one, don't deny it. Listen,
Hmm.
lean in. You want to make the sales, you want to sell thousands worldwide and dot, dot, dot. Lean into what God is telling you to do. That's number one. Number two is got to steep it in research. Whatever you're going to do, if you do it for the glory of God, it's going to be successful. Only what you do for Christ is going to last. That's a promise. I hate to
Hmm.
make that
Hmm.
promise to people that aren't believers, but they don't. It's a hard one for them to swallow. But only what you do for Christ is going to last. Measure what you do. Make sure that you're doing it with the right intentions. Make sure that you're helping the people that you intend to serve, and then go boldly
Mm.
with the archangels behind you. What can't you do? And when
Yeah.
you operate with that type of faith every single day, you start operating differently. I operate very different. And the thing of it is that I love entrepreneurs, business minded individuals, because we're cocky. We are some I think that whatever I sell is better than what exists. That's
Right.
cocky. I mean, it's her
Have to.
purest
Right.
definition.
Yeah.
It has to
Yeah.
be. And so we're that. Be proud. Absolutely. What I have to offer is something that somebody else may offer, but I do it better. Walking into your day every single day, believing that makes you just move different. And so, with those three things, believing those three things are the things that are going to be the other formula to your success. But the thing that I want to make sure you really understand is that if he's given it to you, he's not going to rescind the call. You can deny it all you want, but he's not going to rescind the call on your life.
Yeah, that's good. Deon, we've talked about this planner enough that somebody's probably begging. Give me the link for this planner. So tell us how to get the planner.
Yes, you can get the planner at theambitionbrand.com. It comes in a physical version as well as the digital. If from my iPad Pro girls, if you like a digital planner, you can download that planner instantly. Otherwise, I will ship that planner to you with a personal handwritten note from me within 7 to 10 business days. That's a promise.
Oh, wow. Okay.
With little touches, little things. These are for women. Listen, I told you. I know my niche. I know my girls.
So, hopefully people here, some of you will be getting this as Christmas presents, right?
Absolutely.
And if someone wants to connect with you more, follow you on social media, how do they do that?
Absolutely. I'm on all platforms at The Face of Ambition. You can find me on TikTok as well as Instagram at The Face of Ambition. I also answer all of our DMs at the Ambition Planner, at the Ambition Brand websites as well, Instagram handles as well. So please feel free to reach out in any of those platforms, and I will be there to communicate with you. This is my ministry. That's what I'm passionate about. It's what I enjoy doing. And so it's one of those things that I don't allow anyone else to do inside of my business. I answer all emails. I answer all correspondence. That's me. It's me.
Okay. All right. Deon, I really appreciate it. This has been an amazing interview for me. I've learned so much. And for those of you who are watching this, I know that this has just been one of those where you realize, one, the value of what you have, but also the preparation that's needed, some of the shifts that you may need to take in terms of how you manage your time and even your mindset. I just want to encourage you. You got a lot of good inspiration here. Don't just take notes. Don't just be inspired. Don't just even put great stuff in the comments, but get the planner, right? If you're get the planner, put the work in, and don't
get a business coach.
Yeah, get a business coach. Don't just sit on what God has given you, but you got to take this thing, move it out into the world, and bring your business ideas to life.
Thank you for listening to the Monetize Your Ministry podcast with Kymone Hinds. For more information, visit our website at www.monetizeyourministrypodcast.com. That's www.monetizeyourministrypodcast.com. Find us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Please share this episode with someone who needs it. Let's increase our income and impact.